Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Sports Talks at Calle Serrano. Today we have the pleasure to host on our channel three sports lawyers, three experts of this industry, such as Reyes Belver from Spain and Ida Linda Reitano from Catania, Sicily, in the southern part of Italy, and Sara Messina from Como. She always says that she's not from Milan, but from Como, so I have to, to tell it. And today we are gonna talk about women football, the development on the women football, and we want to give like a general overview and see and highlight what FIFA is doing, what Spain is doing, what Italy is doing. And so I'm pretty sure that our guests, our speakers, will make you understand and will let you know something more about the development of women's football. And this talk will be very interesting. Here we are, so we can start with Reyes. Welcome, Reyes. How are you?
Thank you. I would like to say first to send my support to all the people, especially Italy and Spain. We are suffering the consequences of this virus, and also condolences to all the families. And I think we are living a difficult situation, so I would like to start first with this message. And a positive thing is to have this kind of webinars and talks. So for me, it's a pleasure to share the time with all of you, and with Ida and Sara, and with you, Lucio. So thank you for having me.
So here we are. We can start with the first question. I prepared a list of questions for you. And the first one, Reyes, is what is FIFA doing for promoting the development of women's football?
Well, about the FIFA, first step was the creation of the women's football division. It was in 2016, and it's led by Sarai Berman, is the chief of women's football division. And this division is focused on three areas of work: is competitions, development, and also governance and leadership. In relation to development, in 2016, the same year, FIFA launched the FIFA Forward program. This is not only focused on women's football, but it's important because it's a developed program to implement development projects to provide football infrastructure, competitions, and also to promote women's football, to promote advanced women's football, and also leagues, young leagues, and grassroots levels, this kind of thing. So this is also in the same year, and a very important point. My conclusion with this division is that FIFA is working not only in the development of the women's football, also in women in football. I would like to point out this because it's really important to create leadership roles in women's football and in football in general, and also leadership programs to I think is a necessity in football world. And with this after this crisis, I think more than than 4 or 5 years ago. Second, another important step was in 2018 when FIFA launched the first women's football strategy. And this is the first in the history of FIFA. So this is a very important point and step in relation to women's football. I think also that the strategy is very important in terms of women's football, not only in FIFA, also in every member association, federation, and in a club, league. I think every club need to develop a strategy to improve and also to professionalize the women's football. So this is a a very important point of view. This is a key to develop women's football. And to sum up the FIFA strategy, it has three key objectives for women's game. The first one is to grow participation, related to increase the level of female participation in football all over the world. The goal is very ambitious, is having 60 million players by 2026. And now we have around 13 million of girls and women playing organized football, according to the last FIFA Women's Football Survey report for last year. So we have a lot of work to do, but this is very important to increase the participation. This is in connection to develop and grow. There are a lot of different goals for 2022 to have women's football strategies in 100% member association and all the member associations, the FIFA member association. And by 2026, double the number of member associations with organized young leagues also. So there are important goals inside the develop and grow point. The second is related to commercial value, to enhance the commercial value, to improve the competition. This is also very important if you want to create a product. No? For example, commercial program for women's football, digital content to improve in this kind of things, women's football ambassadors. This is also really important in connection to roles and ambassadors like we have with legends, FIFA legends in terms of men's football, marketing, more communication, more platforms, work with influencers, this kind of things. And the first key objective is to build the foundations. This is govern and lead. This is about empowering and also to ensure women's football and female representation in key decision-making bodies. This is in relation to leadership roles, to leadership programs, to create a link between every women's football stakeholder, all the women's football ecosystem, and all the people related to the management of the game put together. And finally, in relation to FIFA, I can't forget to talk about competitions at the last World Cup, because in France last year, because it was I think a very big step in terms of women's football. It was the beginning of a new era in women's football, for the visibility, for the broadcasting, the quality also. The organization in France was really good. The coordination between FIFA and France Football Federation was great. The numbers and figures are really good. We have a report in the FIFA website. So I think this is the most important, to sum up, the most important steps for FIFA in terms of promoting development of the women's football.
Great, great. But before you mention the word the leadership, so I know that you are the CEO or the president of a association called like that, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about your association?
Yes, the Leadership Women Football. No? Yes, in 2018, I found a platform called Leadership Women Football. It's a platform to try to promote leadership in football, not only in women's football, more focus on leadership positions, and to try to create a network between women around the world working in football, to try to create or to give more visibility to all the women that are working in the office as lawyers that we have today, also management positions, all the women around the world working in football, and also working with men. It's a platform to try to connect men with women, and to try to to focus on the importance to have more diverse team in football, no? And I'm committed to these gender equality issues, and I think women's football is really important also to create more equality in football.
Great news. And I totally agree with you. And I have another very important question for me, because for me, and I think for all people who are listening to our talk, because in Italy there is always now, like, let's say, a fight between people who want that women football became professional, and people who say it will be better that, like, female football, women football stay like that, so not a professional way. So what can you tell us about Spain? Is women football professional or not in Spain? And then, like, from a general point of view, I would like to ask you how it grew up, how it has developed in the past years.
Well, this is a key question. It's really important because I think it's really important to explain that one thing is the definition of professional league in terms of regulation in every country, and the other is the factor, no? How is the situation about contracts and all the the documents around the women's football. In Spain, it's not professional in terms of Spanish sports regulation. The Spanish Sport Act is for the 90s, so we need to to take this in consideration. It's only professional the first and the second men's football division, and also the first division of basketball, men's basketball. So
Sorry,
this is Mhm.
Segunda B is not professional.
No, it's
Segunda
not
vez no.
professional in terms of Spanish regulation. And then we need to consider that the other thing is the players could be professional playing in a non-professional league in terms of legal considerations, no, or regulation. That is different. So the players now, women's football players, are professional because they have a salary. They have now we are going to talk later the collective bargaining agreement that was signed this year. It was a very important step, and in terms of activity, they are professional because in Spain it's not a professional player when you receive only a compensation of expenses for volunteer job or wherever. But if you have a job and every month you receive your salary and you have your timetable with your program and everything, your training, you are a professional. But the league is not professional, and this is have different consequences. For example, that the coordination between Spanish La Liga and Spanish FA is different. If we have the first and second division, the professional, we have the coordination between La Liga and Spanish FA, and for no professional is more focused on Spanish FA. That's the reason that we already know that and we are going to talk later about the situation after COVID, no? But we have now the Women's League has been cancelled, no, by Spanish FA. That's the relation to the professional and not professional terms about something also political issues, no? So it's not professional, but it's professional in terms of players, activities, rights, this kind of things. And it's really important to point out this to don't forget the important things, no?
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned COVID-19, and so I have to make the typical question of these periods. So, according to you, which will be the consequences that COVID-19 could lead to the Spanish women football? I mean, talking about the sponsorship contracts. Apart from you already say that like the league will not be terminated for this season. So, but I mean, in a longer scenario, could be the consequences? There could be some opportunities, in your opinion, as the things could change in some way. This could be the occasion to change something, or there will be only negative consequences.
Well, I'm a very positive person always, so I think in every crisis we have an opportunity, and now we need to think a lot, and we need to be creative. I think it's time to think about the possibilities to change the competitions, to change the tournaments, to change all the dates that we have now, because we have different dates for now the transfer window, and the next season we have different situations in every country. So we need to think about something really good for everybody, and something important to players, something good for clubs, something good for fans. That is really important, because we have a product, and this is linked with the all the economic terms, and this is very, very important after a crisis, no? So I think it's time to negotiation. It's time to create a different point of view, and also is more important to think about now in digital terms. Maybe we can think about this also in women's football. So we need to wake up and to think more, no? And about the situation now, well, what we have now is that the Spanish FA, as I told you, took the decision to end all non-professional sports, non-competitions. And this is also includes the Women's League, the first, Primera Iberdrola, and also second is Reto Iberdrola. This is this week decision, and is we are going to see in media a lot of things, opinions about that, because it's very controversial, no, to end the competition. We will see, no. We don't have no relegations, and Football Club Barcelona will be the champion for this season. And also we have a semi-final and final of the Queen's Cup pending, and will be next season. We need to put a date next season, but we don't know nothing more. And in relation to after that, and now we know that there's no more matches this season. So we uh, we have a very big problem related to media and sponsorship, because this year it was the first year. This season has been the first time ever in the history of women's football that we have sold our TV rights. So it was really important, because it's the first season and we have this crisis. So I was watching Pedro Malavia, the director of women's football of La Liga, some days ago, to talk about some numbers, figures about the the problems about the TV rights, and with TV rights and also the commercial plus other incomes, he talked about is more than 1 million of euros. So I think there is a big economic impact of this in women's football. So this is not men's football. So this is really important also to know about the the way that in Spain we are doing with women's football. And now we need to stop a bit and to think different strategies to try to continue growing the competition. So I think we need to wait a little bit about problems with contract players, problems with this TV rights and contracts, about next season, how is the competition. We need to wait a little bit and then to think about how we can do more things in relation to fan engagement, for example, to try to connect with people, to continue create the product, because I think we are in at this moment in Spain, we are creating a valuable product, and we need to continue with this strategy. That is the most important point of view. And this virus is something that we need to live with it and to to fight against it and continue with the strategy in terms of women's football. It's very important that when we have a crisis around the world, always the gender equality or the gender issues or women issues always are the last point, no? And this
Yeah.
is not good. And we need to, in football, to focus also that we have a product and we have a very important league, and we need to care about it. So that's the message, I think.
Thank you. Of course, I totally agree with you, and I think that also Sarah and Ida Linda will agree with you. Thank you for your interesting talk, and I think you clarified a lot of things. And for example, I also had a lot of doubts, and you clarified everything. So thank you very much. And I think that also our viewers will know a lot more after your talk. And
Thank you.
we talked about Spain, and that I think that two other Italian sports lawyers who are here will agree with me. We talk about Spain, which in this moment is I will say the capital of, especially Madrid, a little bit like the capital of sports law and sports management. I think
Absolutely.
that La Liga is a role model, and in some way, also in Italy, we should try to. I don't want to say copy, but to do something very similar in order to make Serie A and Serie B like good products that can be sold all over the world, like La Liga is doing. And so, passing to the Italian situation, I would like to introduce you Ida Linda Reitano, who is a Italian sports lawyer. And the first thing I would like to ask her is, as we know that you have a role in the Italian Football Association, FIGC. I would like to ask you, what is FIGC doing to promote women's football in Italy? Do you think there are some similarities with the Spanish situation, or something different? Please tell us more about that.
Thank you, Lucio. First of all, thank you for inviting me here. Thanks, Reyes, for clarifying very good all the points that I was curious about too, or about the last news, especially because half of my art is Spanish. According to my education and my studies, I'm also a lawyer in Madrid, even if I'm Italian. And I specialized in sports law, as you were saying, that it's the capital of sports law. I totally agree with you in Spain, especially in the University of Lleida, the Master of Lleida, which is one of the most important for 25 years or something like this. So thank you for this. Yes, I have a rule in the federation, Italian Federation Football Association, in the PGC. I'm member of the CAEF, which is the uh, it's a judge of first instance that has to judge about disputes regarding economics agreements arising between players, collaborators, coaches, and clubs in female, in women football. As I said, we're talking about economic agreements, not contracts. As you just said, Reyes, it's not professional. It's not professional also in Italy. So we don't have, when I say we, I think we in women football, women players don't have contracts. They don't have an assistance and sanitary and whatever it takes an agreement, a contract, professional contract. I don't think it's important to call it professional or amateur because there's a big difference. If you look in Spain or in Italian, it's almost similar. But if you look in England or USA, professionalism or amateur means has different meanings. The important is to get the point. I mean, to have a legal assistance, tutela sanitaria, as we say in Italy, which is a health assistance in general, but for maternity, for every aspect of a job law, of a job contract. Apart from this, coming back to the Italian situation, which has many similarities with Spain, and I totally agree with you when you talk about the rule model played by La Liga, which is a big industry and it's numbers so it's a great point of view. I'm also member of the Sport Justice Commission in the Federation, and we've just reformed the code, the FIGC code, and I can tell you that during my job of reform, I made a comparative law job. I've seen what they do in Spain, what they do in France, what they do in all the European and extra-European leagues, federations, and took just take a look to see the advantage and the disadvantages of their systems. For example, in the part I reformed is about the strict liability. So I took point of view to see what does it work, what works in that country, for example, what could work also in Italy, because it's not the same situation as a system, as a tradition, as a law system in general. So it's sports law, but it's always law. I don't want to take too much time, but it should be taken for another maybe webinar. So let's focus on women's football development in PGC. Starting from the sporting season 2015-16, it was introduced a strategic plan, as my colleague was saying before, for the development of women football. If you want to get the results, you have to go step by step, just to be sure that everything you want to get, you want to be sure is a goal, it's in. So it was the street we are starting now. We have started a few years ago, and it's focused on more important areas like national team development. Talking about the World Cup, we had great results with the national team. Also, on a national level, the match Fiorentina-Milan in the Allianz Stadium, it had 39,000 and something, almost 40,000 people assisting. And the great share also on the Sky, which is the one who has the right TV rights. And about the national championships reform, which is fundamental, because as we just read on the report of FIFA, you have to focus on the national championships, not only the national. If you want to play, you have to play with the others, not only in your house. If you want to develop, you have to think big. So it's normal, but not so easy to explain, especially in women football. And the licensing system, which is fundamental, because with reference to the domestic club licensing system, starting from 15, 16, and step by step, to encourage the professional clubs to invest in the women's football, because someone has to invest. Now we will check how can we get the money to invest in this sector. All the clubs belonging to Serie A, Serie B, and Serie C, which in Italian are the professional leagues. Now we're talking about the semi-professionist, but basically now it's like La Liga e Segunda. Segunda B is not professional. In Italy, the third category is professional, even with their big problems, economical problems. Or also can sign a licensing or collaboration agreement for to use the brand with women's club of a professional league. In particular, each professional club of these leagues has to be involved in a gradual, as I was saying before, and specific process in relation to the development of women's football. For example, I think Serie A in 15-16 had to register at least 20 under 12 players. In 16-17, at least 40 under 12 players. Now in 1920, they have to, in Serie A, you have to register at least one girls team from the under 17 championship, also 40 under 12, and at least one girls team from the under 15 championship. As you can see, it led to a big growth of the number of the registered football players. And it's a positive aspect because the male football professional has to invest. I mean, the federation say you have to invest in women's football. And we are more aware of this phenomenon. We are lawyers, the jurists, we have to examine the phenomenon, which is natural, which is arising in society, and study, and then provide an assistance, a legal assistance, because it exists simply. So we have to not play like we are blind or say it's not football. It's not a moral problem. There's a fact, and we have to face it. And there's another problem, the parity and the equality of gender that must be considered. So the fact that they are girls or women, it's not a problem. They have to play. They want to play, so they have to have the possibility to play. So there's like the European community does those corrections to make it possible, quote rosa, Lucio, in Italia, but
yes.
to make it possible the women to do what they do, because it's a fact that maybe an ancient problem we've had, not in all the countries we're going through, but some sectors are more resistant to women. Now we're talking about football, women football, but women in football, it's another issue that was talking about Reyes and the leadership in football. It's another issue that we could talk for hours, and it has the same importance, because it's one of the aspects that must be, we have to take advantage of this crisis to go on. Talking about numbers, so since 2000, the first years of 2000 until now, it was a growth like of the 30% of the number of players. And the investments I was talking about, many clubs as many important clubs as the first division women team, and many others on the second category. There's also a fund, an equal fund that PGC, Italian Football Association, has created of 164 million to support investment. It was created, refunded twice because it was just divided. For example, the third category teams, they get 20,000 euros for every team they guarantee when they get the license, you know. So this is an important fact because everyone with its possibility, because Serie A possibility different from the Serie C, it's obvious, and Serie B, of course, has to cooperate. now from the season 2018, it was created a dedicated unit in the FIGC, in the professional league, within the direct control of the FIGC, starting from the season about the Serie A and Serie C football, women football, which means that they are inside the federation, the professionals, so say professional about the organization of the championships and all the aspects about the justice. I'm part of the CAEF, so it's all in Via Allegri. But all the other categories from the Serie C from to down is still on LND, which is La Lega Nazionale Dilettanti, the amateur league, to be clearer. The numbers are the one I don't want to bore you with numbers, but it's really going on and improving. The problems are always the same, because in this difficult period, the problems get bigger and bigger, and you see what was just a problem, something that must be regulated and settled down before, gets even more urgent to be solved. But basically it was just something to be solved, like the treatment of the women players, the maternity, and all those aspects connected to the women football and the profession or not profession in any way, to have all the guarantees that are must be guaranteed to players, to a human being, to a woman in particular, maternity, for example, but not only. It's an aspect, it's a really delicate aspect, but from time to time, I can see that I think we women, we are like shy. We don't want to ask too much because we are afraid of getting nothing. And it's a nice way to ask things, but sometimes we have to do things more in a more decisive way. I talk with many young players, with many women that want to sneak in this sector. I'm also director of a master, as you know, and all the women that want to go win, they say, but it's difficult for a woman, and it's real.
Do you have many women as a student in your master or not?
It was in my master in sport and law management. It was like half and half. It was equal. And a few of these lawyers, because they were all lawyers or graduated in economics, wanted also to sign to the course to become an agent. You know, now we have, so they're not afraid anymore to be an agent, to have to deal with players or in this world of sharks. So it's something that makes me proud also to see my colleagues like Sarah or Reyes, so young, so strong, so focused on their objectives, makes me feel not alone. Even if I'm from Catania, Sicily, the are south of Italy, I travel a lot. Of course, I live in Italy, between Rome, Milan, Catania, but I travel a lot because I'm an international lawyer, and it gives you an opportunity to have an open mind and an open sight on all the aspects. I come from Sicily, so in my DNA, of course, there are a lot of these vestigials, but it's not just a problem of culture. It's something that we have to fight now to take advantage of this crisis. Someone commented a post. The case of the Californian judge that denied the right. Maybe my colleague will talk about this, so I don't want to bore you more. But someone commented on my post saying, of course, because female football, women football is not the same as men football. Okay, I totally agree with you. It's not the same. It's the same sport. But I also work in water polo, for example. If you see water polo played by girls or by guys, you see different skills. It's funny it's the same sport, but you appreciate different things. You can like or not, it's up to you, but it's the same sport, but you can appreciate different things. So I don't want to be the same. I don't want to keep the diversity, to take advantage also of the diversity. I don't know if it's clear. I like to see women playing football. For example, I adore to see the freestyle aspect of football, for example, of female football. Men are more physical, but less funny, and playing less Brazilian, for example, to have to make you understand what I want to say.
Yeah.
But there's place for everybody, I think. The behavior. Sorry.
According to this, it came to my mind a beautiful scene that I saw in Maracanã last year in Rio. I went to watch like the final of the Copa America, and there was Brazil playing, and there were many supporters, males, wearing the T-shirt, la camiseta de Marta.
De las mujeres, sí. Marta, sí.
Marta, who is the best, probably the best female football player in the world, or at least she was. So it was a very nice image, a very nice scene to see men wearing the T-shirt of a girl.
This could be, I have faith that this must be guided to. I mean, you in this webinar, you told me also to talk about the development of women football. Thanks to our job, we have a rule in this world, and we have to improve and to support and to create things. We've been talking a lot about the COVID, and I'm very, very, I wanted also to, I hope that all you are safe, all our colleagues who are listening to us are safe, and it's a really big problem. But after this enormous problem, like a pandemic, we only have to wait the sun to settle down and focus on solutions, not just complain or say we're going worse and worse. And this is the attitude that the best sport lawyers ever that I've ever met in my career have. So about this issue, I just read the report of FIFPro about this, and I've read the Ballon d'Or, the player Ada Hegerberg was the football player who got the Pallone d'Oro, no? The Ballon d'Or. About this, I've had a webinar, no, it was like a symposium about women in sport, and it was the day after the prize she get the Ballon d'Or. Do you remember what happened? He asked me, can you twerk? And she was wearing heels, so beautiful, getting her prize. Like, in that look was like, oh, poor you. I'm here to. You could ask me like to play with the ball with the heels, for example. Could be funny, but it's something that we don't even get angry of. But we have to try to pass on and focus on more important things. As you said, it's not always about money. It's about attitude and respect. It's real. It's not the same business, but it can go bigger and bigger. And where is the point? Where's our rule in this section, in this passage? First of all, I think that we have to be the connection between the sponsor, the potential sponsors, and the clubs and the athletes. That is what I do also with the so-called minor sports like water polo or rugby or also volley, but more in water polo because they have great, beautiful athletes that can be also interesting for some sponsors if you show. So this is the also for the guys and the girls that listen to us in ISDE. If they want to enter in this wonderful world of sport, which has many, many doors you can sneak in and enjoy, you can focus on this. You have to think and invent your own job. So go to propose to the law firm or to the I don't know, an industry making bikini or I don't know whatever, or some integrators to focus on women. For example, Dove, it's a great sponsor of women because soft skin doesn't mean only a beautiful Victoria's Secret model, but also a football player can be a beautiful woman, football player, I love box. I'm focusing more on some sports, but talking about football and why I have to be a lawyer. I cannot be a football player. I cannot be also a boxer. What's the problem? So this is our rule. It's really important that we start breaking up the rules and suggesting new things to create the interest around the athletes, showing more because we want what we see. And so knowing more, sharing more information. For example, when I listen to Sara so clear, Surey is talking about women sports, even if she's talking about aerospaziale, I would listen to her because she's a great vehicle to talk about this. So ambassadors, as she was saying, for example, apart from the knowledge she has, the way she can inform persons and create the desire or the interest in that sport, it could be really, really precious. And fundamental is also focusing on the diversity, I think. We are not equal. We're not the same. I mean, men is not like a woman. Men football is not just the same sport like women players. You can choose what to see. If you see and can appreciate the different skills, if you look at me expecting I play like Ronaldo, I mean, it's not possible physically, also the skills, but not only, also the show you can move the supporters and all around. We don't even want to be like men. We only want to have the same rights and the same possibility to play, the right to play, not to do I don't know, like what we look for, no, which is the right to say what we think, to do our job. I mean, we are lawyers, but it's the same problem almost when we want to. I mean, I've been also a manager in a sports club, a football club in the deep south of Italy, in Catania, and they came to make me an interview. You are in this role like I was a weird, weirdo. What happened? Why? What happened? Why? But I'm a lawyer, so and you have to explain. But it's okay. We are women, so it's our nature, I think. We are specialists in resilience and hold on and pushing forward and never give up. So we are women, and our nature imposes us to roll up our sleeves and come on, let's see what we can do to settle down the situation, which is really difficult. I'm not afraid of the situation right now, but I'm afraid in general of what will be happening in the following years. I'm not talking about sports only, but about the relationship, the contact with persons. My job, our job like lawyers, is based on contact. My athletes want to come to the office and talk with me. Okay, the webinar, okay, the video, but I want to come. When I can I come? Bocato. This is really important for us. And maybe because I'm from Sicily, but also Sara from Como, especially Reyes from Spain, could share the same feeling. I think we need the contact because also for an important contract or transaction or transfer, I'd rather take a plane and fly for a few hours and be sure I get the result. I can hold a hand, I can my handshake and be sure I get the result instead of do anything by phone. That you can also do it, but if it's possible, I prefer to do this. So I think we have to roll up our sleeves and go on and work on this. It will be hard, but it's not a problem especially for us. We have to get our hands dirty, keeping them clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's an hard work, but someone has to do it. So I think that we can get what we are focused on in a female way, which is step by step without having hard tones, because women football must be loved, not imposed. It's a phenomenon which is growing, with everyone who's not interested in is looking at with curiosity. So we have to make, if you wanna make it grow, if we love it, we have to take care of it and make the interest born in people softly and nicely and spontaneously. So I think this is the best way to solve this problem in general. I think the female attitude is, I'm not a feminist, but I think that from the interaction between male skills and female skills, I talk like not just like as a lawyer, but as a sport manager in a club, it's something really evident. You can see that there are different points of view and problem-solving approach. So I think that in this field, we can do a lot to get the best result ever, with no strange, but with decision, with no imposing, but with stay firmly in our target.
Perfect. What you said was very, very interesting, and I think that many girls, many women who wants to approach to this world can take advantage of your words and also of your experience. So, in order to conclude, I would like to ask you, how can women, but also men, let's say all the category of sports lawyers, how can we boost this industry, the industry of women football, and help the development of it?
As I was saying, Lucio, I'm talking now, I'm really focused on the female aspect, but I talk like a man. I don't make any difference between men and women. We are sport lawyers, and sport lawyers have the privilege to work in a world they love, because if you don't love sport, you don't approach to this world. And they have the honor and also the duty to do the best for this sport. So first of all, you have to be inspired by all the values who are the base of this sector of sport, which are the base of fair play, or all the values that inspire this work. So as sports lawyers, we have to focus on keep this in our mind and do the best we can do. In this world, I was also reading the FIFA report, and it was also saying that apart from the aspect we've just said, the private sponsors, the federation, FIFA, UEFA, has to support the women's football. But it's really, really important that sponsors come to the sport and have an interest to get the result. Watch out, I'm not talking about sponsor like in Italy. You know very well how does it work. You make sponsor to get fiscal and advantages and tax advantages, which is okay, but they have to focus on this kind of sport to get the result, to have it's management, now it's marketing, but there are criteria to evaluate the return, the rebound of an investment on a sector. So this is one of the main things a sport lawyer has to do to boost this world, the women football. So to focus on the private sponsor, about the regulation, to work on the regulation, to have the same rules, the same condition, professional or not professional. It's not important, the category, as I said, but to have all the rights they need to live. If you want to live with your job, you want your job to be sport, football in this case, you have to be guaranteed as every other worker, not male workers, as every other worker, whatever was his job. So this is the base. But to boost this sector, it's really important to the role played by the sponsor. And the sports lawyer, the young sports lawyer, like the one who are following us and who talk now, has to focus on the connection to invent, to work, to create a connection between an industry and the sport. Something new. This is something new. If you keep on thinking with all the categories, you won't get any results. It's evident. So focus on the sponsor, but in this sense, to make understand, not to just to beg money, just to say, hey, you will get money. If you invest now with this money, you will get 3 times, 4 times more visibility in 5 years. It will be, you have to show with numbers, you know. So focus on these aspects. And also to do this, to make a diversification, to create its own nature. What's football, women football? And also to make this, the ambassadors, the athletes are fundamental to play the rules, because you know Juventus, Milan, Arsenal, Barça, Atletico, Real, but you are more aware of the players, of the flags of these clubs, and it's a way to remember and to get sponsor also for the club and for the system. And the range is made from the Liga, from the connection, not just for the club or from one athlete. So if you understand that if you are a team, not just a club, but a team, women football in Italy, in Spain, all around the world, we are stronger and we get more. The international championships are the key to develop this sport. So you have to focus on sponsor, practically, to what to do, and focus and have an eye always open on the other countries, on the international level, which is the base to play. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope it was clear, but
I think it was clear. I think it was very, very clear, and I think that you can be of inspiration for many young sports lawyers, and especially for girls, for women who can take advantage of your words and of your strong attitude. So I think all of them will.
I try to be soft, but I cannot. When we talk about women, about sport, about what can we do? Because a lot has been done. It's real. I don't like to complain. A lot has been done. I always look at Spain, which is really, really amazing, the growth they've had. Also thanks to La Liga, which is a big force training. But I think there's a lot to do. We can do a lot. So there's a lot of space for all the sports lawyer, women, men that want to join us to get the results.
Great. Thanks for your words. And,
thank you.
Talking about the female football players, the female footballer, I would like to ask Sara, how is the contractual situation in Italy? Because before with Reyes and also with Ida Linda, we mentioned the professionalism, the amateurism, and but now, if like someone asks you, is Giacinti, AC Milan football player, a professional football player in Italy? Is she a professional? Is she professional or not? How can she sign an agreement with AC Milan? I know that you assisted a lot of women footballers, so you can explain us how does it work, and tell us more about your experience as a sports lawyer, and I would say also as a intermediary or agent.
Okay, first of all, thanks Lucio for the invitation. I'm very happy to share this moment with you, with Reyes, with Ida Linda, and talking about women's football, and as they said, women in football, women in sports lawyer, because we are a team. We are very united to promote our figures, to promote also women's football. And women's football is one of my preferred sector to work in and to speak and to try to get inspiration lawyers, from others colleagues. So for come back to your question, as Idalinda said before, in Italy we are amateurs. So the female players are totally amateurs, and this is a general rule because all the female athletes in Italy are amateurs. It's very weird because especially in the past few years when the clubs enter in Serie A and in Serie B, we talk about, for example, Juventus, Milan, Inter, or as you know, mentioned, Valentina Giacinti is a AC Milan striker. She's amateur. She's worked all the day for the club. She works for a professional club because she's registered for a professional club, but she's amateur. This is a very weird and strange situation that we have in Italy. It's different from Spain because in Italy, the league and also the players are totally amateurs. And they are amateurs also for subscribe the economic agreement. As Idalinda said before, the players didn't sign a real contract, an employee contract, but also economic agreement. So this is very different because if I subscribe an economic agreement, I'm not an employee. And if I'm not an employee, I've not the right, I'm not the protection of an employee. So the players in Italy, the football players, the female players, can earn only 30,000 euros per season, plus some money like collective money or individual prize money. But this is very strange because if I play for a team in Serie A and I work all the weeks for this, the federation said that I can earn only this sum, and the money is not a real salary because it's like a compensation. So this is very different from other country. And another aspect is that, for example, the female football players can subscribe a maximum 3 years agreement. For example, in professional we have 5 years, in female are 3 years. And as I said before, so they are amateurs and they are not employees, so there's no pension contribute, no collective agreement, and this is a big problem. So some players have some benefit, like vehicle, for example, like a house, but it's totally different from professional. I think, as Idalinda said before, it's not about the terms of professional, not professional. I think the most important thing is the work condition. And from 5 years today, the women's football in Italy changed totally, because now we can have a league with Juventus, Milan, Inter. It's not only about the name, but also about work condition. So if I'm registered for Juventus, I have my agreement. For example, I have my house, I have the team that works for me, I have also a lot of benefit, a technical benefit. So this is important. After that, we can speak about the importance of professionalism. But I think now the most important thing is the work condition of the women's football. It's true that it's not the same in Italy, because okay, when I speak with big clubs like Juventus, Milan, Inter, the work condition is some. When we talk and we speak about other clubs, it's not possible, because we need some cost. We have some cost for this work condition. But I think it's very important now to promote the women's football and to give to the players the good work conditions. So this is the most important things. And as you say before, Lucio, yes, I assist some player, not like an agent, but because the girls, pay attention, girls are amateurs, so they can have agent. This is not true. I'm so sorry. I have to say to all the people that are to webinar, but there's a lot of agent in women's football in Italy, and I help especially the agent from abroad to understand the rule of Italy, because it's totally different. For example, if a Spanish agent come in Italy, and I think that she or he can strange about our regulation, so she or he need help to register the player and to assist the player. So I think this is a good sector for our works, and I think is a good way to help to other agents or players come in Italy from abroad for raise up the technical game.
Yeah. I understood. But a curiosity that now comes to my mind, which is like the average salary of a female football player in Italian Serie A?
So
I know we cannot talk
yes,
about
the money that can earn.
but we have to talk about compensation, rimborso spese in Italiano.
Exactly.
But more or less, which is the average salary?
Well, so the maximum totally is 30,000 euros, but the club can give to
Which is the minimum for males.
Exactly because so as I said before, we don't have a collective agreement, so we don't have a minimum salary. So this is another problem we have to resolve before
Maximum.
the profession. This is one of the point. So the maximum is 30,000 euros. Plus the club can give some prize money to the players, like collective prize or individual prize. Prize, like for example, if I win the championship, or if I go to the Champions League next season. But more or less, I think the maximum is 50,000. This is another problem because more or less now clubs want to invest in women's football, but I think the salary is too low, and I don't know if next season, or I want that in the next few seasons a club can pay for example 10,000 miles euros for a player, so for a salary. Nowadays, I think it's very, very difficult that clubs can spend this for salary for the players.
Do you think this will be the first thing to be cut after the COVID-19 virus? Like the development of women football, the money which had to be given to the female football teams.
This is an interest aspect, because a lot of people say, okay, now after the situation about the COVID, a lot of clubs will not invest anymore in women's football. I think it's not true, because I think that FIFA want to improve much more the female sector, and I think this is not the result to resolve the problem about male club and the male teams. If you cut, for example, 1 million for female sector, you don't resolve your problem. I think now it's the time to improve with some strategy better the male team and the female team, because I think now is the moment for the football to change a lot, to change something, to change mentality, to be more creative, that we said before. So I'm not afraid about this, and I hope that will not happen in the next future after the pandemic.
Great. My last question had to be the following one, and I wanted to ask you, but you partially already answered to this question. If I mean, which could be the pros and the cons of having women's football professional? And do you think you partially answer to this question, but do you think that the first step should be the collective agreement, like in Spain they did, and what else? Which could be like the keys to make Italian women football also more competitive, and taking a look to Germany, to Sweden, England, and I don't know, USA, and which could be the keys? Let's say 3 keys, 5 keys. So the first one, collective bargaining agreement.
Yes, the first is the work condition, because this is for me the most important things. Because if you want to be professional, okay, but if you are professional but with no rights, no protection, is not real professionalism. So the first is the work condition. The second is that the clubs want to invest in women's football, and as Idalinda said, the sponsor, the sponsor is very important, because now it's time that sponsor enter in women's football, in women's in women's football. So this is for me is very important, because when you have a sector with a lot of money, you can become professional. If, for example, if the federation, if the football association next year said, okay, from the next season, the league, the Serie A will be professional. I don't know how many clubs want to pay to become professional, because the professional, okay, is a good right, good protection, but it costs a lot. Nowadays, just to make a practical example, if I'm professional, so the male team in Italy pay more or less 42% in taxes.
Mm-hmm.
In women's football is 23%. So this is different. I think that federation, the government have to help the development, for example, like a fiscal benefit or fiscal cut in the next year. I think is a good circle to arrive step by step to professionalism. I think that before the league in Italy, the women's football become professional, I think there's very important to be this sector, to make this sector sustainable. With a sponsor, with the broadcaster TV rights, and so on. So we need to work step by step. We have a long path that we made 5 years ago with the reforms in Football Association, and we have to made step by step, because the result will arrive. I think is no sense become professional in 1 year, so in 2 years, and for example in 5 years close the league and become as amateur. So we have to think about better to change this and to make a strong industry, a strong sector. Because I'm very happy when I speak about women's football, and I trust a lot in women's football, and I want that all the stakeholders make step by step to become and to build a strong sector, a strong industry in Italy, in Europe, in the world, but like FIFA said, also UEFA, and I think is for Italian women's football, I think is very good to take the best practice along the Europe, along the world, because I think, for example, we have to make a good example from Spain, from UK, from France. Now in Italy, we have the fortune to pick up all this best practice for me and build a sustainable and good sector with the regulation. Because another important thing is that we need to make strong regulation, not only for example, protection and rights of the players, but we need to bring at the same level the game and the regulation, because for me, without regulation, there's not a real development.
Yeah, you were very clear, Sarah. Thanks for your words, for all that you said. And I, before saying goodbye to everyone, I would like that every one of you could give some tips, some suggestions to students or also to young lawyers who are approaching to this world. I know for sure that there are a lot of people from all over the world, I don't know, attending FIFA Master and ISDE and the other master all over the world who are listening to us. So starting with Reyes, which are the tips and the suggestions you give to people who are to lawyers, but also, I mean, people who are studying sports management, for example. So to all people who want to approach to the sports world.
Well, thank you. Very short. I think for young lawyers and for lawyers and for everybody, work with passion. I think passion is really important in our life, and also think big. I think is one of the most important advices that I can give to all of you. And I would like to say about women's football to end this conversation. Thank you, because it was really clear, the both presentations for my colleagues, and I learned a lot about Italy and all the interest point. But I would like to add only one thing, that women's football is for people who believe in it, and also in gender equality. I think we need people involved and who believe in this area. Also for sponsors, for clubs to invest. You need to want to do it. That's the most important point. And we should not fear crisis and COVID and these kind of things. We need to continue working on strategies that develop women's football, because it is good for football and also for the world in general. No, that's my last message. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reyes. Your turn, Ida.
What can I suggest to women or men who want to join us in this adventure? I mean, if you are just studying, keep on studying a lot. I think we all always study, even if we are director, our own master. I always study and read and get informed. Of course, something, not always things will be smooth and nice and fine and easy to get, but you have to, as I was saying before, to be moved by the sport values, which is strength, keep on, push hard. I always say work hard, play harder, study deeply, and dream bigger, which gives the sense of this, of the passion you have to put in and the hard work, especially for women, which is harder. It's not something new I'm saying, but it's true. So keep on, guys, keep on, girls, and try to learn from your own mistakes, from defeat, because if you get if you are in mistake, if you get a defeat, it's not neither positive or negative in itself. It's like this crisis we are living now. It's possibility to rebirth, to get back in on your feet and keep on. It's like water, you know, it gets the shape of the recipient it comes in the feed. So if you give a nice strong if you are a nice and strong recipient, you can learn and become stronger, because from the crisis, from that, from the seed, you get the plant and get stronger. So it's an hard period, I think, for the lawyers who are studying to get the exam, who are planning their career. And I'm talking in an open optic, in a more general point of view. or those who are focusing on this field, thinking about maybe to become an agent or sports lawyer. It's a difficult situation, but you are lucky. You have to consider you are lucky because you have the possibility to propose new things, to experiment, to make the difference. So go on, and I'm available for any kind of help I can give.
Thank you very much. Sara.
So I think its passion is very important for this work, but for the work in general, could be a lot of difficult, but you have never give up. Make a lot of public relation and open your mind. For me, this is very important. And first of all, and last but not least, trust in your goal. It's not a dream, it's a goal, it's different, and make patient and day by day.
Thank you very much. Now it's my turn, and I have to thank you. I learned a lot doing this conversation with you. It was a pleasure to be, how we say in Italy, beato tra le donne, and and I really appreciate your kindness and that you wanted to share your thoughts and with me and with all people who are listening to us. And so thank you once again. I say I'm gonna tell you goodbye, and I have to say to our followers that the new talk will be about esports. So that is now another big thing in the sports law world. So I think that also you can learn a lot, and if you are interested in this topic, I suggest you to follow our next conversation, our next talk, because esports is also something very, very important, which is increasing a lot. So thank you very much once again. It was a pleasure, and speak soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Ciao.
Bye bye. Ciao.
Ciao.